So a lot of people are quite upset with Miss Rachel, the hugely popular baby and toddler YouTube educator who posted last week on her social media accounts, Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride to all of our wonderful families and friends. This month and every month I celebrate you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're exactly who you are.
She actually said more than that, but I'll get to that in a minute. Now, I can't say I blame these folks. My son no longer watches Miss Rachel, but if he did, I would certainly be pulling the plug after hearing what she had to say about Pride Month. And more importantly, what she had to say about how her faith in Jesus shapes her views on human sexuality.
In Matthew 22, a religious teacher asked Jesus, what's the most important commandment? And Jesus says to love God and to love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. There's no greater commandments than these. I believe it's mentioned 8 times, love your neighbor. So yes, everyone belongs, everyone's welcome, everyone is treated with empathy and respect. It doesn't say love every neighbor except.
Now, I'm not here to bag on Miss Rachel personally. In fact, there was a time when we really appreciated her in my household. If you've ever watched her videos, it's obvious. She not only has a huge heart for kids, but a serious gift when it comes to educating them. Her ability to connect with toddlers is something I've never really seen before.
Hi. Hello. Can you say mama? Can you say mama? Hi. Hello. Can you say mama?
Which is why it was so disappointing when she decided to jump on the pride wagon. Look, I might not have cared if she held these views personally, but once you post them on your platform, which is 100% committed to educating babies and toddlers, now we have a problem. Mr. Rogers educated kids in America for decades. And even though he was an ordained Christian minister, he never talked about religion on his platform.
I'm proud of you, you know that. I hope you do.
I think there's a lesson to be learned from this for Miss Rachel. Even though I wouldn't have minded personally if Mr. Rogers talked about God on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, he didn't. Because that's not what his TV show was about. Now, before I end this video, I actually want to take just a minute and break down what Miss Rachel had to say about love. She said that she gets her view of love from Jesus' commandments in the Bible. But if you zoom in on what she actually said, you quickly realize her idea of love is not the biblical view of love, not even a little bit. Not even close. Miss Rachel's view of love is actually completely bankrupt. It's devoid of all power, all ability to actually help and serve someone. It would be like a lion without teeth or claws. Again, I'm not trying to bag on Miss Rachel. I actually sincerely hope by the grace of God she watches this video and considers what I have to say. Miss Rachel says that she celebrates Pride Month because she stands strong in love. She then references Matthew 22 and Jesus' statement that the greatest commandment of all is that we should love God with all of our hearts and love our neighbors as ourselves. The problem is what comes next when Miss Rachel tries to interpret what Jesus meant by loving your neighbor. And for Miss Rachel, loving your neighbor clearly means affirming everything your neighbor does. Whatever actions they take, whatever choices they make, according to Miss Rachel, loving your neighbor means affirming them. This is actually a form of a straw man because Miss Rachel replaces Jesus' actual imperative, love your neighbor, with something else, affirm your neighbor, something that Jesus did not always do. Jesus loved everybody all the time, but he did not always affirm people.
You Pharisees, you cleanse the outside of a cup and the dish, and then you eat and drink food that goes into a body that inside is full of greed and wickedness.
In fact, In the very passage that she quotes from, Jesus was confronting the religious leaders for their lack of compassion on the people. He wasn't affirming them, he was confronting them. Does that mean that Jesus wasn't loving? I don't think Miss Rachel would want to say that. Miss Rachel then ends her post by saying that she stands strong in love and that she stands with everyone. Two statements that are mutually exclusive, slapped back to back, one after another.
There are so many reasons I stand strong in love. I stand with everyone.
You cannot stand strong in love and stand with everyone. That's impossible in a fallen world. Look, Miss Rachel, if you have one neighbor who maybe lost their job and is struggling to make ends meet, break into another neighbor's home one night and steal cash and valuables, and you happen to be friends with both neighbors, who are you going to stand with? You're going to have to choose sides in that instance. Standing with one automatically means not standing with the other one. You cannot say that you genuinely love people if you affirm everything they do. And you certainly cannot say that you love anyone if you stand with everyone, because standing with everyone means you actually stand with no one. But as many people know, this is the kind of meaningless language that is tossed around all over the place today when people want to affirm things that they know deep down in their hearts just aren't right.
You know, that's how you can tell when you're grown up inside. You're sure that what you're planning and doing are things that can be a real help to you and your neighbor. Mm-hmm.